My fiancé found out about my parents' open marriage and now thinks I want the same, and he's re-evaluating our engagement. Me, 29 female, and my fiancé, 32 male, have been together for 6 years. We've known each other for another 3 years before that, so 9 years total. We're getting married in February, or at least we were. I don't know anymore. We're visiting my parents to meet some more of my extended family, so they get to know him before the wedding. My parents offered to host us and we've been staying in my old room. My fiancé wanted to stay at a hotel, but I thought it will be fun to sleep in my old room. And to be here with my mom and dad one last time under their roof before I become a married woman. My parents have been in a non-conventional marriage for a long time. It was a shock for me to learn about, and I learned to cope with it. I am not necessarily comfortable with their lifestyles, but I can't do anything about it. They basically go on dates with other people, spend time with other people, sleep with other people. I had to learn it when I was 16 and I came home a few days earlier from a trip with a friend's family, and my father was sleeping next to another woman. I freaked out then, and my parents had to explain to me it was all fine. So my fiancé could not sleep last night, and went outside for some fresh air because he is not used to sleeping away from our bed back home. And he found my mom kissing another guy in my parents' foyer. He freaked out, started yelling at her, came and woke me up, and demanded I call my father and tell him he found my mom cheating on him. So my mom had to explain to my fiancé about my parents' non-conventional marriage, but it didn't go well with him. And once it seemed like he is calming down and starts to accept what my mom was telling him, he figured out I knew about their marriage, and he started freaking out on me. He told me that he can't trust me anymore, that he was set up, that I insisted we stay with our parents so that I can ease him into the idea, so I can enforce my parents' principles on our own marriage, and I simply can't get through to him. My fiancé has been cheated on before, his parents have divorced because his mom cheated on his dad, and he doesn't have a good relationship with her. He could barely stomach the idea of having her come to our wedding. He went to a hotel for tonight, and said he will be leaving back home tomorrow. He's not really answering his phone or texting back. He says he needs to reevaluate our engagement, that he doesn't think he can marry me knowing I approve my parents' marriage style. That I wanted to manipulate him and introduce this lifestyle in our relationship. The truth is, I'm ashamed of my parents and their relationships, and I had no idea they will behave like this while my fiancé is around, let alone sleeping in their house. He simply doesn't believe me because I haven't talked about it since I've met him. It's not something I find easy to talk about, and the less I think about it the better. How can I talk with him? I have no interest in my parents' style of relationship. I am fully dedicated to my fiancé, and I have never been interested in another person since I've met him. I don't want to lose him over this stupid thing, and I feel ashamed he had to find out about my parents like this. I'd have preferred he never knew. Please, if anyone has any ideas, I am interested in any suggestions. Thank you. Update 1. Just a couple hours later, I've already talked with him, and I am staying in the hotel room with him tonight, since it's already paid for and it will be fun. Tomorrow we will move to my grandma's house until the end of the week. We came here to meet the extended family, and that's what we will do. My parents have finally found it within themselves to apologize, but it no longer matters. For what it's worth, I didn't blame the situation on my parents when we met earlier. Aside from what my parents do in their spare time, I never had a secret from him. He knows I know about his mom, and I told him that if he ever wants to talk about her, I am here to listen, and I understand why he avoids talking about her. He also apologized for his outburst and reaction, but he was honest and told me he doesn't think he will be that close to my parents in general. And I am fine with that since I don't have that close of a relationship with them anyway. I have told him how much he hurt me saying he needs to reevaluate our engagement, and he acknowledges he wasn't thinking when he spoke those words, and also said he regrets them so much he was afraid he damaged our relationship. He didn't damage it, but I told him if I could predict the future, flowers is what I'd see, haha. So that's it, pretty much. Update 2, the next day. I'm still reading through the comments, because this thread has become way bigger than I expected. My parents did apologize, but they justified themselves by saying it was a planned night. Which I find ridiculous, as they have invited us to stay with them over a month ago. How far along into the future do you plan your fun nights? I refuse to think they planned their little indiscretion since more than a month ago. Bottom line is, they knew we would be there, they invited us, and they didn't care. The idea of not inviting them to the wedding started floating through my mind yesterday, while reading the thread, but I am not sure what I will end up doing. They are my parents, they are my responsibility. My fiancé got to see them for who they are and how they are for himself. He now knows why I don't really talk about them. Aside from our little bump in the relationship the other night, we should be fine. We actually ordered 2 books from Amazon, at the recommendation of other Redditors, with all kind of relationship tests and lessons. And we will maybe even go to therapy as a couple. This is not yet set in stone, we'll see. Thank you all for the kind words.